Jannik Sinner wins Miami and becomes the new world number 2 on the ATP Tour. But the big question is, when can he become the world number 1? Stay tuned, we're going to find out. But make sure you have hit a like and subscribe to the channel. Let's take a look at the new top 10 before we go any further. Novak Djokovic still at number 1, and Jannik Sinner moves up ahead of Carlos Alcaraz, and he is now the new world number 2. Alcaraz drops to 3, Medvedev stays at 4, Zverev at 5, Rublev 6, Rune 7, Ruud at 8. Dimitrov moves up 3 spots and into the top 10 for the first time in 5.5 years. And Hubie Hurkacz just drops down 1 to number 10. Wow, I mean, great to see Dimitrov in there. Jannik Sinner won Miami, only losing 7 games between the final and semi-final. It was 6-1, 6-2 against Daniil Medvedev. It was 6-3, 6-1 against Dimitrov in the final. And in Masters 1000 history, 1990 to the present day, only one player has done better, and that was Rafael Nadal in Monte Carlo in 2010. The semi-final versus Ferrer was 6-2, 6-3, and then the final against Verdasco, 6-love, 6-1. I mean, that is pretty crazy to think at a Masters event you could pull off those type of numbers, but that's Rafa on the clay. And let's have a look at what Jannik Sinner said after his title win. He had somebody asking him, what is more important for you? Your first Miami after 2 finals, or being number 1 in the rankings tomorrow? And Jannik said, number 1? Number 2, sorry. Jannik calls that an unforced error. No, for sure, it means a lot to me. But more importantly, it was a great performance for me, especially in that semi-final and final, which for me is more important. Being number 2, it's an amazing feeling. I never thought I'd come to this point from a very normal family. My dad is still working, as my mum too. And for me, it's, sport is one thing, life is different. I'm very happy to be in this position. I'm just enjoying every moment, and these are special days winning a tournament. Doesn't matter what kind of tournament, it's a special day. It means a lot to me. Well, you can tell he's a very humble guy from humble beginnings, very much a sportsman through and through, an amazing skier, but he's sort of on the precipice now of the top of the sport, a Grand Slam champion, 2-time Masters champion now, and looking for the number 1 spot. And where will he be able to grab it, I hear you ask? Well, these are the next tournaments coming up. We've got Monte Carlo. This is a Masters 1000 tournament. That kicks off on the 7th of April, runs through until the 14th. We have Barcelona. That one is between the 15th and 21st of April. We have a couple of smaller tournaments, which I don't believe he will enter. We obviously know Djokovic normally plays in Serbia. I think it was in Banja Luka last year. And then we have the Madrid Masters, which is at the end of April, run until the 5th of May. So those are the tournaments which are coming up. And this is sort of how both of the players that we're going to be speaking about, Jannik Sinner and Djokovic, got on last year. So we look at Jannik Sinner from last year. He got all the way through to the semi-finals in Monte Carlo last year. So he will be dropping a few points, and more points than Djokovic will be dropping, because Djokovic only made it to the 3rd round. Remember, he lost to Lorenzo Musetti in a very error-filled match between the two of them. So Djokovic won't be dropping as many points in Monte Carlo as Jannik Sinner, but doesn't really do too well in Monte Carlo. If Jannik Sinner was to go on and win the tournament, and Djokovic was to have another poor showing, then he would bridge the gap a little bit more. But yeah, if you have a look, obviously Sinner played in Barcelona, pulled out against Musetti in the quarterfinals, so he only played the 2nd and 3rd round there in Barcelona. And in Rome, which is going to be after Madrid. He didn't even play Madrid. So there you go. Alcaraz was the only person out of the top 3 who played Madrid last year. He will drop 1,000 points because he won it. And he's out of the talks really for world number 1 because he's dropping so many points. If we have a look at Djokovic, he obviously did play Banja Luka last year. He lost to Lajovic. So if he was to win a 250, he might be able to fend Sinner off for a bit. But he did go to the quarterfinals in Rome. So obviously after that, we know we have the big one. It's the French Open, which Djokovic won. And Sinner, as we remember, went out very early to Daniel Altmaier in the second round. So you'd feel the French Open is the place where it has to happen. That's my personal opinion. I feel that if he hasn't done it before then, that's when it will definitely happen, will be at the French Open. I see Sinner, he has to do better, and Djokovic has to win the tournament again. You've got to see that the points that they're so close at the moment that it has to happen there for me. If it doesn't happen there and it happens before, let's have a look. This is the points. If you're looking at this after Madrid, so this is up to and including Madrid, Sinner will drop 450 points. Djokovic will drop 135 points. So they would have a difference of 1,330 points. But this doesn't take into account any points being picked up potentially in Monte Carlo. If Sinner was to win Monte Carlo, obviously he'd be within 300 points of Djokovic if he had a bad Monte Carlo again. And then it's all to play for in Madrid. If they both play Madrid and Sinner wins Madrid and Djokovic doesn't do too well there, it could be Madrid. That could be where this whole thing turns around. Obviously, we have potential of Barcelona maybe in the middle there. I mean, will Djokovic play in Serbia or in another tournament just to try and pick up a 250? I don't know. I think Djokovic is going to be picking and choosing where he plays just to try and maintain that world number 1 spot. But it does look likely that it could happen in Madrid should Jannik Sinner choose to play it. But if not Madrid, they do have Rome they go to afterwards. Obviously, Jannik Sinner did worse than Djokovic last year in Rome, going out to Cerundolo in that round of 16 match. Djokovic went out to Holger Rune in the quarterfinals, so pretty close. But if it's not decided in Madrid or in Rome, I think it will definitely be decided at Roland Garros. But let me know when you think Jannik Sinner is going to become world number 1 in that comment section below. Do you think it's going to be at Madrid? Do you think it's going to be at Rome? Or are we going to have to wait until Roland Garros for number 1 to change hands? Let me know and hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you for the Countdown Podcast. Don't miss it.